Okay, we are live. Let's get with the Dhyana Shlokam. Om Ganana Tva Ganapatikam Avamahe Kavim Kavina Umashravastvam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadaana Shanvanotibisi Sadhanam Shimaha Ganapata Jainamaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Virvajini Vidi Dhinam Avitrayavatu Maha Saraswati Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishije Bhavaroginam हृदये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अस्मिन् गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं सत्ये पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शिवतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः देवीं वाचमजनयन्त देवाः तां विश्वरूपा पशवो वदन्ति सा नो मन्द्रेषु मूर्जन्തുहाना धेनुर्वागस्मानुप्रतिष्ठितैतु श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मत्श्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रीलतामहात्रिपुरसुन्दरी समेत श्रीचन्द्रमौळीश्वरा श्रीकाञ्ची कामकोटिपीठाधिपतिजगद्गुरु शङ्कराचार्य श्रीचरणयोः प्रणामाः स्वस्ति श्रीमद्गुरुमण्डलालङ्कारत्रयत्रिंशत्कोटिदेवता सेवित श्रीकामाक्षी देवी सनाथ श्रीमदेकराम्रनाथ श्रीमहादेवी सनाथ श्रीहस्तगिरिनाथ साक्षात्कार परमाधिष्ठान सत्यपद रामाङ्कित काञ्ची दिव्यक्षेत्रे शारदाभटस्वस्थितानाम् अतिरितुसुधारधमाधुर्य कमलासर कामिनी धम्मिल्ल सम्पल्ल मल्लिका मालिका निष्यन्द मकरन्दजरि सौवस्तिकवाङ् निगुम्भ विजृम्भणानन्द तुन्दरति मण्डलानाम् अनवरदाद्वैतविद्या विनोदरसिकानां निरन्तरालङ्कृतीकृत शान्तिदान्ति भूम्नां सकलभुवनचक्रप्रतिष्ठापक श्रीचक्रप्रतिष्ठा विख्यात यशोलङ्कृतानां निखिलपाषण्डषण्डकण्ठकोद्घाटनेन विशदीकृतवेदवेदान्तमार्गशर्मतप्रतिष्ठापकाचार्याणां श्रीमत्परमहंसपरिव्राजकाचार्यवर्य श्रीजगद्गुरु श्रीमच्छङ्करभगवत्पादाचार्याणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमच्चन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमज्जयेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अन्तेवासिवर्य श्रीमच्छङ्करविजयेन्द्र सरस्वती श्रीपादानां च चरणधरणयोः सप्रश्रियं साञ्जलिवन्दं च नमस्कुर्मः. Can someone check the YouTube audio if it is okay? Anybody able to do it from a different device? Yeah. So we will continue with the Vishnu Sahasranamam in the beginning where we left off. So I think we will have to start from the Stotram because we finished all the Nyasa, etc. Right, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we will start with the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram. So far, whatever we learned in terms of what we do in the beginning, is there any questions involved in that? Is there any doubt? Is there anything that you want me to clarify or repeat? Sonalji, are you able to hear us? So anything related to Nyasam, why we do it, Dhyana Shlokam, the procedure? Okay. So before I forget, every time you do it. Absolutely. See, the essence of our worship is always about, as I said, the beginning part of the even Dhyana Shlokam that we start with in our class is meant because, see, I woke up at 6 a.m. or maybe 5 a.m. or even 3 a.m. This is not going to be focused in doing what it is supposed to do. it will be wandering all over the place. I may have dryness of mouth, breathlessness, people may have BP issues. Any of those physical and mental distractions or challenges can impose a challenge on our way of chanting. And when we don't do chant well or do things well, then the expected benefits are not going to be derived. So that's the foundational aspect. Just like when you start eating food, you wash your hands and then you touch your food. You don't touch your food regardless of whether it is just snacks or some fast food that you get from somewhere or a full 7 course meal. Every time you have something getting into your body as food, you clean your hands and you wash it and make sure that it is sanitized in its own way, not in a literal sense, but it is sanitized. So same way, we have to purify our mind, and also the invocation of all these gods and doing nyasam gives you much more empowerment to do what you're supposed to set out to do. Because mantras, I want to say this once. I don't know whether I've ever said this before. Mantras are not something that you can take it lightly. Mantras, mudras, every one of these things are very powerful tools, and as much as it can get you benefit, it can also lead to certain harmful things if you don't do it right. Right. So I talked about once probably about the demonstration that was done in the Western world with a champagne flute kept on a table which is isolated completely from everything. The room was only subjected to noise and cacophony. The champagne flute broke into millions of pieces. That's what sound can do. So the sound, if it is not delivered the way it is supposed to, can cause harmful effects. So it is important that we get the Akshara, Matra, Shruti, everything intact. And for that, we need to have mental and physical focus and concentration, which is where all of these things are part of the ritual or part of the practice. If that explains it, Usha. Yeah. So, and it may sound that it is very big, takes time, but once you get used to it, you can actually wrap it up. Like mantra japa, when we were given initiation 8 years ago, the first time it took about 25 minutes to do one mantra japa, simple. Same thing, people do it in about 7 minutes now. So that's the kind of comfort speed that you will get because you know it by heart and it's there in your DNA. So you don't have to be very conscious looking at a PDF and reading it out, but you can do it anywhere. So effort poda like as you keep putting on efforts, it will become a part of you. So, but there is no reason to feel guilty if you don't do it. That's the other side of the story. In everything in Sanatana Dharma, there is nothing like where you are made to feel guilty. Oh, you didn't do it, so you committed a sin. I don't think that is the way it is looked upon. Make sense? Yeah. So the stotram is where it starts. Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhota Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhota Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Om. Om is pranamam. It is our expression of gratitude to the source or origin of all of us. We are the end result of that beginning of Om as humans. So it is absolutely a misconception that women cannot chant Om. Okay, so I will finish this and then I'll get back to answering some of the misconceptions about what women can do and cannot do. So that fear also is gone. So we can start with Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Vishwasmai Namaha. There are plenty of things that you can do it before. I tend to keep it very clean to the original script instead of keeping on adding more and more things. So you can just start with Om Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhota Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhota Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. भूतकृद्भूतभृद्भावो Bhutatma, Bhuta Bhavanah. If you see the amount of bha that is coming in here, you need to be able to chant that very clearly and openly instead of just ba 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 ba. It is not bhuta krid bhuta bhutao. It is bhuta krid krid. The is soft. Krid is soft. Bhuta krid. Immediately mind should shift over. Bhuta. Ta is soft. Bhu is hard. Bhrid. Bhr hard. Id is soft. Bhavo. Bhutatma. Bhuta bhavanah. You need to practice that very clearly with the Mahapranas. Putatma Paramatma cha Muktanam Paramagatihi. Putatma Paramatma cha Muktanam Paramagatihi. Avyayah Purusha Sakshi. Avyayah followed by Purusha will become Avyayah. Ya PH. Ya. Purusha followed by Sakshi will become Purushas, half of Sa, Purushas. That is called Visarga substitution. Avyayaf. So you have to give time for the Akshara because you are only substituting the Visarga, you are not chopping it off. So that time required for that one Akshara need to be given. Avyayaf Purushas Sakshi Kshetrajno Kshara Evacha. After Gyo there is Avagraha, so it gets dragged. Avyayah Purusha Sakshi Kshetrajnokshara Evacha. Yogo Yogavidam Neta Pradhana Purusheshwarah. Yogo Yogavidam Neta Pradhana Purusheshwarah. If you noticed, I said Yoga Vedam. I allowed that to complete. Yoga Vedam Neta. Instead of rushing it, Yoga Vedam Neta. That is too much of a rush. Narasimhava Shriman Keshava Purushottamah. Keshava Sha is hard, Purushottama Sha is soft. Narasimha Narasimhavapu Shriman Keshava Purushottamah. Sarvashivasthanur. Sarvaha followed by Sharva. Sharvaha will become Sarvash. Sharvaha followed by Shivaha will become Sharvash. Shivaha followed by Sthanur will become Shivas Sthanur. So Sarvasharvashivasthanur Bhutadir Nidhiravyayah. Sarvasharvashivasthanur Bhutadir Nidhiravyayah. Sambhavo Bhavano Bharta Prabhava Prabhurishwarah. Sambhavo Bhavano Bharta Prabhava Prabhurishwarah. Swayambhush Shambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahaswanah. Swayambhush Shambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahaswanah. Anadinidano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamah. Anadinidano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamah. Aprameyo Hrishikesha Padmanabho Maraprabhu. After Padmanabho there is Avagraha. So Aprameyo Hrishikesha Padmanabho Maraprabhu. Vishwakarma Manustvashta Sthavishthas Sthaviro Dhruvah. Vishwakarma Manus Tvashta. Tvashta is goes with Ta. Stavishtha. Stavishtha will become Stavishtas Staviro Dhruvah. विश्वकर्मा मनस्त्वष्टास्तविष्ठस्तविरो ध्रुवः अग्राह्यः शाश्वतः कृष्णो लोहिताक्षः प्रतर्दनः अग्राह्यः शाश्वतः कृष्णो लोहिताक्षः प्रतर्दनः प्रभूतस्त्रिककुद्धाम पवित्रं मङ्गलं परं प्रभूतस्त्रिक Kub, Balaraman bird, half, soft bird. Kubdham, the hard. Pavitram, Mangalam Param. Prabhutastrika Kuddham, Pavitram Mangalam Param. Ishanah Pranada Prano, Jeshthah Shrestha Prajapatihi. Ishanah Pranada Prano, Jeshthah Shrestha Prajapatihi. Here you have to be very careful that each of the visarga has to be substituted properly because it is Ishanaha followed by Pranadah, Prano, Jeshtash. Jeshtaha will become Jeshtash. Shreshtaha will become Shrestha Prajapati. Shrestha, Jeshtash, Shrestha Prajapati. Shrestha followed by pra means pa. If half of pa, if s, s हिरण्यगर्भो भूगर्भो माधवो madhusudanah. Here again madhusuda, that second the has to be soft. If you don't pay attention you will say madhusudanah. So those are the areas where you need to be very careful. Madhusudanah, you have to be able to quickly switch from the mahaprana to the soft akshara very quickly. And when you learn it slowly. Practice all these things to perfection before you start rushing it to higher speeds. Take it in writing, without any hesitation. Same way, Hiranyagarbho, Hi Mahaprana, in hard, Garbho, Bho, Garbho, Ga is soft, but Bhu and Bho are hard. Madhavo, Madhusudanah, clear? Yeah. Ishvaro Vikrami Dhanvi Medhavi Vikramah Kramaha. So here the tendency will be Vikrami Dhanvi Medhavi. It is neither Hrasvam nor Dhirgam. Whereas here actual Aksharam is Vikrami Mi Dhirgam. Dhanvi Vi Dhirgam. Medhavi Vi Dhirgam. So because you have a natural tendency to rush, it is always better to err on the other side where you just go to 1.25 matra, 1.5 matra, so that your ears get used to that extension. Vikrami, Dhanvi, Medhavi, and slowly it will come to the correct matra, right? So, Anuttamo Duradarsha, Anuttamo Dura, again, Dha hard. Du is soft, it is not Duradarsha. It is Duradarsha also is wrong. Duradarsha, Sha again you have to soften up quickly. So, see how difficult that part is. It appears very simple, but it is actually complicated to chant if you don't pay attention. Duradharsha. So there are techniques of doing that soft to hard, hard to soft transitions. Practice it. Dharsha. That ir gives you the landing to the front part of the mouth for the sh to be delivered soft. Duradharsha. Kritagnya. Kritiratmavan. At the end there is a halant, so n will bounce. So anuttamo duradharsha kritagnyah kritiratmavan sureshasharanam sharma vishwaretah prajabhavah sureshasharanam शर्म विश्वरेताः प्रजाभवः अहः संवत्सरो व्यालः प्रत्ययः सर्वदर्शनः अहः संवत्सरो व्यालः प्रत्ययः सर्वदर्शनः. Anybody can say what is the nuance here? Tension. Yeah, what is the nuance? Main important rule to be remembered. The samvatsaro, you can say samvatsaro or samvatsaro. So anusara followed by va. That is the appropriate place to remember that. Right? Yeah. So never miss that opportunity to chant it right. So with this, we will stop on Vishnu Sahasranamam. I think we have done enough justice today with the 10 shlokas. And I hope we are making decent progress on that, right? Okay. So let's get to Mundaka Upanishat. Anybody has done any study after what we started? Anybody has read any points, counter questions, doubts? Or if I throw a quiz on what you have been taught, will you be comfortable? High level. Don't get tensed up. So, what is the meaning of Mundaka Upanishad? What is Mundaka? What is Upanishad? Correct. Correct. And asking questions. You learn through asking questions. Yeah. Very. See, Sonalji, you always underrated yourself. Now you got answers spot on. What else? So that's how you have to learn. You fall, you get hurt, you get cuts and wounds, and then you get up, apply ointment, and start running. What else? Oh, I thought Padmaja would have done her homework. I know Usha is very busy with son's wedding, so she can't be blamed. Otherwise, she's a well-prepared lady. No, and a wedding is not a joke. It's not a birthday party that you're organizing, so it's a huge responsibility. Yeah. Okay, so this is about the concept of lower level learning and upper level learning, higher level of knowledge. The whole conversation started with Shaunaka asking Angiras, what is it that you need to know by which you can know everything? Remember all that stuff now? Recall? So, who gave what knowledge to who? Correct. And Atharva gave it to? Ah, correct. Correct. Perfect. Angiras is answering the question of Shaunaka. So that is why it is Upanishad. Shaunaka is asking questions and Angiras is transferring that knowledge as a guru and teaching. Super. So we already collected everything that is relatively important to this. So did we also go into what the key aspects of higher level and lower level knowledge is? I don't think we did that. Or maybe we just finished off on that note. The shloka number 5, right? Tatra para rigvedo yajurved Samavedo Tharvavedah, right? So it is Tatrapara, Rigvedo, Yajurvedah will become Yajurvedas, Samavedo, Atharvavedah will become combined Samavedo Tharvavedah. Samavedo Tharvavedah will become followed by Shiksha Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam Chando, Jyotishamiti. So the pronunciation is Tatrapara Rig. You see how I'm doing it? The jaw getting widened, the mouth opening up, not closing. It is not Rugvedo, it is Rigvedo. It's a vowel. So Rigvedo, Yajurvedas, Samavedo, Tharvavedah, which will become Tharvavedash, Shiksha Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chando Jyotishavedi. Atha para yaya tadaksharamadi gamyate. So if you split, do padabhedam of tadaksharamadi gamyate, it is tad aksharam adhi gamyate. Tat aksharam adhi gamyate. Tat and a becomes tada. So it becomes tadaksharam. Im plus adhi becomes ma. So it becomes tadaksharam adhi gamyate. Clear? So the Padabhedam is important for you to group the words while chanting without any flaw. So Tatra para means Tatra apara means of them the lower. Tatra apara is Tatra para, of them the lower, which is elaborated as Rigveda, the Rigveda, Yajurveda, which is the Yajurveda, Samaveda, which is the Samaveda, Atharvaveda, which is the Atharva Veda. These are the 4 Vedas. Shiksha means phonetics. What is Shiksha? Phonetics. Anybody knows what is phonetics? Yeah, but what is the meaning of phonetics? I'll give you a very simple example. Yeah, you're almost there, Usha. In English, KNOW is also no. NO is also no. So that is not considered phonetic. Whereas when you say Mutter in German, Mutter, whatever you say as a sound is exactly the way it is written. So Sanskrit is also claimed as man, why am I missing the keyword? Indo-Proto language of common origin. So you will see a lot of similarity between the way Sanskrit is structured and German is structured. There are several root words that are common. Okay, so here it is saying that the shiksha part of it, the phonetics part of it, is taught in the lower level language. The code of the rituals, the kalpaha or the sutras, right? If you want to do a homa, what should be the size of the homa kunda? How many samits are required? How many avanams are required? Who are all required to conduct the homa? That there should be a brahma, that there should be a hotra. These are all specified in the sutra, right? That is also the kalpaha. Oh, Agama Shastra is entirely devoted to construction of temples, worship of deities, alankarams, and everything. Agamam is all related to Archakas. It's very detailed science and engineering in terms of how temples are built. Whatever you see, there's a lot of mathematics involved, science involved in that. So rituals is exactly, if you ask Anandaranan, he'll tell you. Abhivadiya, Angresa, Bharaswati, Bharadwaja, Triya, Rishe, Purana, Bharadwaja, Gotra, Drakhyayana Sutra hai. We say it in our Abhivadi. That means in the Yajurveda Shakha, I have gone and learned Yajurveda, of which I have studied Avastava Sutram, Bodhayana Sutram. Likewise, in Samaveda, there is Drakhyayana Sutram. So those are the Sutrams. It defines the way in which also you do Pidrukaryangal. If you do Shraddham, you can see Vadhyas doing one way in one Yajurvedic house. That is in Avastamba Sutram versus it will be done in a slightly different way in Bodhayana Sutram. Got it? So Sutrams are the ones where the rules are defined, which is also called as a Kalpaha. Vyakaranam is not rocket science. You can understand what it is, correct? Grammar. Niruktam, etymology, correct? You want to elaborate what is etymology? Correct. The origin or the root. Yeah. So in this case, it is the Vedic lexicon, obviously. It's not the English as a language. Then Chandaha or meter or prosody, right? We also learnt about how many chandas are there. Anybody remembers that? Oh man, he's asking too many questions in this class. That is one advantage of. Huh? No, I'm not able to hear you. So the slight echo. Uh-huh. I hope Padmaji doesn't listen to this. She put in a lot of hard work. Yes. Of which there are some which are very key, which you must ask Anandaran immediately. If he's doing Sandhyavandanam, Gayatri Japam, he'll be able to say, tuck, how many, what. And if people sign up for the special class, I can go into the details of what that Chandas algorithm is. It's not just some random thing somebody has said. Everything is math, everything is science. Phenomenal algorithms. Why those meters are there, why each of the meter has got X number of syllables. Right? So that is the Chandas or the meter. Jyotisham doesn't need any further explanation. Astronomy. Atha means but. Para, yaya means the higher knowledge by which tat, that. Aksharam here means the imperishable. Please note that. So next time when I ask what is Aksharam, don't say it is letters. I'm already giving you a hint. Most important questions. What is Aksharam here? So what are we referring to? Imperishable. Only the pronoun? Exactly. Exactly. See, Sonalji is now getting the confidence to answer questions. So spot on. So that is what this sloka means. Isn't it powerful? And now when you understand the meaning and you start chanting it, you will be able to relate to it far better. Every aksharam that you say, tatra, para, rigvedo. Yeah. So now putting a music to it or a sloka a tune to it is not a big deal. Get the aksharams right, get the way in which it is pronounced right. the meter right, everything right, then putting it into a tune is not a difficult thing. So to summarize, anybody summarize what we said here? Samaveda. Don't be my Veda. My Veda is Samaveda. Kalpas, Sutras, astronomy, astronomy. Correct. Got it? So it is also called here, the Shruti means to relegate all the knowledge that is merely intellectual and deals with the relative aspects of life into the lower category of knowledge. You do this dhyanam, you do this yoga, your mental and physical fitness improves. It's all related to very lower level of knowledge, because it's all a theoretical knowledge talking to you about what to do, when to do, how to do, etc., etc., for a certain benefit. So indirectly, if you do a reverse analysis of this statement, I would like to see if any one of you is able to hit the bullseye. What are we trying to say when it is specifically related to lower level knowledge? Lower level knowledge. For what? No, no. Let's only stick to the lower level knowledge. So, what is the beauty or characterization of lower level knowledge? Okay, the beauty is here you acquire these ritual knowledge of all these rituals to perform actions. Now hold this statement in your mind until we come to the details of the higher level knowledge. Performing actions, karmas. If you are told that you have to do a nitya karma, you need to know these rituals and procedures, etc., mantrams, japams. So you acquire the knowledge to perform actions. Don't be surprised when you are getting into the topics that give you the higher level of knowledge, which we say is the path towards realization of Brahman. It is all about renunciation of everything. That is the keyword. So remember that in your mind. So when you come to the terms phonetics, vyakaranam, etc., there's one word that is missing. I don't know why. I've never asked that question. It's called mimamsam. It's a very complex topic. I did not put much effort to understand it, because you need to dedicate a lot of time to understand what it is. The importance of mimamsa is so high. Apologize for my yawning. That's I couldn't get the full cup of coffee this morning. So in Ashirvada, when you do a puja, you do the Ashirvada Vachanam. You do Chaturveda, this thing. Then you do Puranam. You do Panchangam. You also chant Mimamsam there towards the end of the puja. That's how important it is. So these are called Veda Angas. Veda Angas. Vedangas. Which means these are 6 kinds of knowledge of the Vedas. Very critical part of the knowledge, without whose knowledge a proper understanding of the Vedas is impossible. That is why you get into Vyakaranam, Chandas, Mimamsam, astronomy, Jyotisha Shastra is part of that. So they are called Vedangas. So let's go to the next one. Is it overwhelming or is it I'm going at a good pace? Fine, right? So if I try to rush and put 5 shlokas in one class, I can do it, but it'll be difficult to absorb. Whereas what I want is once you learn or come to these classes and go back, you feel that sense of empowerment of saying, yes, I know the shloka and I also know what the subject is. And the ultimate aim is to understand the subject, not just blabber the shlokas, right? Good. So for me, it is difficult to pace it properly, and that's why I'm also trying to be. It's a learning curve for me as well because some of these things I'm aware of it for many years, so it's easy for me to keep rambling and go at a faster pace. So it may be a good point to answer that question, Usha. Uh, the notion that a woman cannot chant Vedam is a challenged notion. It is a notion that most people are coming around to say that is not the case. There are certain parts of the Vedam that is no none of the Shastra ever says you cannot do this. That's the beauty of it. You cannot. Because our system works as individuals. Guru's job is only to advise and guide. It's the individual's job to do or not to do or comply or not to comply. It's a system of compliance. You comply, you get enough credits. If you don't comply, you get debits. If you're happy to get debits, go ahead and do it. So just because you chanted Veda, I'm not impacted in my balance sheet. Right, my life goes on as an individual. So it's not like your bad actions constitute anything to me that I need to be alarmed and concerned about. It's about you. So root of our religion or a way of life that you call it as is procreation, the fundamental duty and responsibility. And once you procreate, you need to nurture. You can't throw that new life into a dustbin. So that is how the whole system is defined, hierarchy of your dharma. So if anything comes in the way of you to fulfill your dharma, the system says take adequate precaution. Don't take risk. Don't mess around. So for sure, people have said about Rudram Chamakam and Purusha Suktam. For sure, that's a package. The harmonics of that particular Namakam Chamakam and Purusha Suktam could be detrimental to your reproductive system. Make sense? So let's say you have a tool or reproductive system given by God, and then you just blast it out with all these kind of chanting, which you are not aware of that you should not do. It can cause harm. Then it can put a challenge in terms of fulfilling your responsibility to procreate. And the Dharma says, you can circumvent and bypass all this through technology and science, which is where we are. And I don't have any problem in putting it on YouTube on official record. If they want to block that part of the story, that is fine. When you attempt something impossible, when you attempt something that is not natural, then there is no end to it where you will stop. So initially, people started talking of IVF and all those technologies to fulfill your responsibilities. Then you said, "Oh, okay, I will subcontract my job." That is surrogate. Now you're getting into a completely different territory of get something from the bank and get planted somewhere else, and you can then subcontract it to somebody else for nurturing. No, the world is very open right now. What started off as a solution to some problems, some people having a genuine problem, is now becoming an industry. So when we talk of dharma, the dharma says when there is a need and you do something, it is fine, understandable. But when you don't have a need and you take full advantage of a system developed for somebody else, and you go down that path, then it is adharma. You can't say, oh, she having a IVF or a surrogate process is not a sin, but if I do it, it's a sin. Of course, that couple is challenged. So they are finding solutions to fulfill their responsibility. You are not challenged. So why not the natural way? So this is what the system talks about. So it's not about you cannot and some pralayam will come or your house will burn. None of that thing. So that fear factor should never be there. Make sense? So that is one of the reasons why I opened up for the Suktams, because for many years even I lived with that thought. Many women have asked me, "Can you teach me this? Can you teach me this?" I said no. So then I had to put in a lot of effort to educate myself what the reality is. Right? Saraswati, goddess of knowledge herself, is a female goddess. So how can we distinguish? This lady cannot learn this, or woman cannot chant it, and certainly there is no condition in saying Om as a pranamam. And if you chant Om, it will resonate with you. That is the whole purpose of chanting Om. Okay. Whenever time permits, I will squeeze in the definition of Om. Om is not just a word or a diagram that you can remember. Om has got very deep meaning in terms of how that aksharam was formed. But that will be a little higher level knowledge. Though it is part of the lower level knowledge category, it will form a higher level knowledge for those who are not used to it. So we'll get into that later. Okay. So shloka number 6. It is yat tat adreshyam. So both combined will become yat tadadreshyam. Yat tadadreshyam. Adreshyam and agrahyam will become yat tadadreshyam agrahyam. Yat tadadreshyam agrahyam agrahyam. Then agrahyam plus agotram. Agrahyam plus agotram will become grahyam agotram. Am I going too fast? Are you able to follow what I'm saying? Agrahyam followed by agotram will become agrahyam agotrama. Agotram and avarnam will become agrahyam agotrama varnama, because varnam plus achakshustrotram. Achakshustrotram. Anybody can say what is chakshu and shrotram? Shrotram is correct. Did you all follow? Usha and Sonam? Right. Usha? No, whatever she explained or answered, good. That's what I want to make sure correct. So chakshu means eyes, shrotram is ears, jihva is tongue. You will see this coming in prana pratishta mantra. Chakshusrotra, jihva, grana, prana, pana, vyana, udana, samana. All the tattvas that we talk about. So that will come there. Okay. So chakshusrotram, tadapani padam, which is, if you break it up, it will be tat apani padam. That means that. So the first part is yat tadadreshyam agrahyam agotrama varnama chakshushrotram tadapani padam. Yat tat means what? Adreshyam means that which cannot be perceived, the unperceivable concept. Agrahyam means that cannot be grasped. Agotram means without origin. It's easy to relate, no? What is your Gotram? Why is the term used, Gotram? Anybody can answer that? So lineage means you're talking about your origin as well. I belong to this hierarchy, right? So agotra means without origin. Avarnam, colorless or without form, or without form, without any attribute. So without eyes and ears, which means it's devoid of any senses. And that which does not have hands, apanipadam means without hands and feet. No, because it is combined. Achakshushotram is applicable to both. Now she's testing my Sanskrit grammar. I can fail, huh? So that don't test it too much. Uh, I'm just, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding because don't want to make it too serious a class. So I'll also tell you why I do that. So next time when you have a similar question or doubt, it'll be very easy for you to remember because you'll remember this sense of humor. That's one of the reason I do that. Some comedy or some kind of a weird comment or some example, it'll always help you remember that learning that you had. So apanipadam is without hands and feet. That's the first half of the shloka. The second part is nityam vibhum sarvagatam sukshmam. Su is short. Sukshmam tadavyayam. Tadavyayam. Yad bhrita yonim. Yad bhrita yonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Paripashyanti dhiraha. Nityam means eternal. Vibhum is what it means is manifold expressions. Can you give any one kind of example? What is expressions here? No? Yes. So you're saying it is formless, shapeless, attributeless. Then what is the reference to? Manifold expressions. Very simple. It expresses itself as sound, ether, space, vayu. Correct? So sarvagatam means all pervading. Sarvagatam is all pervading. So nityam vibhum sarvagatam, which means that which is eternal with manifold expressions and all pervading. Susukshmam is very easy to guess. What could the meaning be? Correct. Correct. So susukshmam means extremely subtle. Then you come to Tadavyayam. If you do Padabhedam, it is Tat Avyayam. Tat means that. Avyayam means undecaying. That which is undecaying, yet, which means which, Bhuta Yonim, any guess? I've got 3 ladies on the call. No, what is the meaning of Bhuta Yonim? Okay. Okay, and Yonim? You are very close. Why are you wrong? Why are you backtracking here? Correct. Correct. So, Bhuta Yonim is the source of creation. Bhuta Yonim is source of creation. Dhiraha is the wise. And Paripashyanti means behold everywhere. So what this shloka in summary is saying is that which is unperceivable, ungraspable, without origin, colorless, without eyes, ears, hands, and feet, that which is eternal, never gets decayed, with manifold expressions, all pervading and extremely subtle, which is the source of all creation, the wise behold everywhere. So, can anybody explain what is unperceivable? Slightly better? Okay, that is beyond the reach of the sensory organs or the jnanendriyas. So, what is ungraspable? No, ungraspable is unapproachable even by the motor organs or the karmendriyas. Right? So, when you say the word colorless, the orthodox commentators have described avarnam of the text to mean attributeless or formless. Okay. Now, it is always fun to introduce a little bit of politics, especially when I've come out of the discussion of Seattle Council passing ordinance on anti-caste discrimination, which is very fresh in our memory. What people who have got no business with our system can do and continue to do to hurt us. So there is a joker called Max Muller. His lifetime mission was to destroy Hinduism. He did dedicate his entire life to doing that. Spent a lot of money. Before he was about to pass, he confessed that how big of a fool he was, because he thought Hinduism is something that I can take an eraser and erase it from your brain by brainwashing. He never understood what Hinduism was. So his contribution to many commentaries here, which obviously is public, and somebody can pick it up and think that Max Miller is a genius of a guy, great guy, popular guy, whatever he says is the eternal truth. Whereas now we are learning that what is the eternal truth, right? So he used the term casteless because it fitted nicely into the term agotram. So according to him, Gotra means superiority of Brahmanism. So agotra means casteless. Whereas the purpose of using that epithet is for the Atman, to denote that it is beyond the three gunas. What are the gunas? Sattva, tama. So tamoguna, right? So those are the three gunas. So it is saying it is beyond the three gunas. That is what the purpose of that word is. That is, he gave it a nice political twist by saying it is casteless. So the first half of the shloka or mantram says it denotes the Brahman by negative attributes, dissociating itself from all objective connotations. Now we are used to everything physical. A definition that makes you understand, oh, man, woman, kid, adult. Everything is physical. We need to see, we need to compare it to the database, what we have been trained to make a determination. Oh, this is the woman. Oh, this is the man. Oh, this is a kid. This is an adult. This is a senior citizen. So it is trying to put all those negative attributes that the Brahman doesn't have any of these things. And the second half of the mantra focuses on the positive epithets, which focuses on the nature of Brahman rather than trying to define what Brahman is. That was a bouncer, or you got the meaning of it? In split second, we can go from physical to abstract, right? That's the beauty of our system. So, again, what I would say, the second half focuses on some positive epithets, which rather give you a hint on the nature of Brahman. The Brahman manifests itself in various expressions, manifold expressions. It is a description of the nature of Brahman for you to understand it. Nobody is saying Brahman is 6 feet 3 inches tall. Brahman has got long hair. Brahman has got black eyes. If you try to do that, you're defining Brahman. Because the immediate question that we mortals will ask, if you don't describe what it is, if you don't specify what it is, how can I understand? That's the template that we are brought up with, we live with. Here, it says if you have to understand Brahman, you need to be able to develop the ability to perceive, not necessarily feel through all your karmendriyas, but perceive what you're talking about. You were able to relate to it. When I said Vayu, it's a manifestational expression, or ether, space. Has anyone of you seen Vayu? Has anyone of you ever bothered to differentiate between wind, air, and oxygen? What is this, Kumar? You're coming up with all kinds of weirdo questions, We thought we were going to learn Mundaka Upanishat, and you're taking us all over the place. We take a lot of these things for granted. We never pay attention to the nuance or difference of each of these things. So we use anything, right? Yeah. The wind around is not good. So hence I did not get enough oxygen. So the air around is not good. Or the environment is not good. Any word that comes to our mind is okay. Thank God the Indians are able to say and understand each other well. But sometimes when you're trying to get into these kind of difficult topics, it's always good to be very specific understand the differences between those words, context, when it is used for what. Otherwise, slightly as you go deeper and deeper, your head will start spinning. Make sense? So good. So I think I've roasted you enough today. So we will pause here. Uh, uh, oh, hold on, hold on. I will first stop the